Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/SYS podcast. Now, on to today's episode. Welcome to the Speak Your Success podcast. Family, let's get to it. I'm your host, TEDx speaker and best-selling author Jonathan Jones, and this is the Speak Your Success podcast. If this is the first time that you're joining us, I'm glad that you decided to click that link. I'm glad that this friend or whoever it may be shared this info with you. So we're grateful to have you rocking with us today. I may not know who you are, but please mention us on Twitter at SYS Podcast 1. Tag us on Instagram at SYS Podcast 1. Use the hashtag SYSP, and that way I will know who you are, and we will definitely shout you out because we love doing that. And understanding that we take your support so serious, and we really appreciate each and every one of you who take any amount of time to listen. Today, I want to start off this episode just a little bit different. I want to start off today by just throwing out some shout outs for a few friends, a few faithful friends of the Speak Your Success podcast. First, I want to shout out Becky with the good hair of the Unspoken Words podcast. If you enjoy good insight when it comes to walking in someone else's shoes, if you enjoy dope poetry, I would encourage you to check out Becky's podcast, the Unspoken Words podcast, because she definitely has been a faithful supporter from day one. Also, Crystal Clear. She is the host of Crystal Clear podcast, as well as she's a co-host on the Reigning Opinions podcast. And she always shows major love. She shows major support. She reposts, she retweets, she likes, she encourages throughout the journey of the Speak Your Success podcast. And Crystal, we definitely appreciate you and what you do, your support, as well as your content. Dope stuff. The Reigning Opinions podcast is definitely one of my favorite podcasts, because just the opinions that you all share, as well as, man, just being honest, because I can appreciate a true and transparent podcast. And then last but not least, I just want to shout out my tribe. I want to shout out Mercedes Anderson, a.k.a. Murky D, and Chibuzo Ilanu, because those are my family. We actually returned back from camp, like I was mentioning just earlier this week, and they always support. They always give me feedback. They always let me know their thoughts on the episode. They say, hey, have you ever thought about doing this episode? And I want to let y'all know that thank you for rocking with me. I love y'all. I know y'all love me, and I'm glad to have you all locking arms with me in this journey. So thank you, friends. Thank you, family. And now we are going to go ahead and get into today's topic. And today, as we're inching closer to episode 100, today the topic is words for a millennial. That's right, words for a millennial. At first I thought about, man, maybe I should title this episode, conversation with my younger self. Or maybe, hey, 16-year-old Jonathan. But I opted out of that because y'all don't care about that. Y'all want to hear words for a millennial. So today, I was reflecting as I was preparing for an upcoming presentation, and honestly, people always talk about millennials. Some things is good. It's not all necessarily bad, but a lot of it is bad. And thinking about what people say, I just began to think about a few insights or a few points that I felt would be beneficial for us to apply into our life, for us to take, for us to chew on, for us to think about, and then maybe pass these on. Or as my best friend Mahari Takai says, eat the meat and throw away the bones, right? And that plain and simply means take what you need, but whatever doesn't apply to you, don't take that. Or maybe it's not even for you right now. However, just thinking about those things and thinking about stuff that I've learned through my life, stuff that I've learned through real experience, stuff that sometimes bit me in the butt or smacked me in the face, and then I had to man up and then take it. These are the points that I wanted to share with you today. It's just going to be a few. But the first point is try many things, millennial. Yes, I know there's some things that you don't like. I know there are some things that you know that you like just based on other people who like it around you. However, if you begin to try many things, there's some things that you might feel that you don't like before until you try it. That's how I first felt about calamari. And now every time I go to certain restaurants and they have calamari, I got to get it because I'm a fan of calamari now because I've tried it, as well as escargot. So remember that. Try many things. Is something that you just shouldn't say, but you actually should implement it. Next, you have to trust yourself. Sometimes people get in some tough and difficult situations. They say, I should have knew better. Something was telling me that I shouldn't have went down that alley. Something was telling me I shouldn't have took that class. Something was telling me that I knew better. Friends, trust yourself. You know more than what you think you know. In addition to that, you know what's best for you, especially as we get to a certain age in our lives. There are people who try to tell us what we need to do for our own lives, and they tell us like they know what's best for us. Friends, there comes a certain time and a point where you know what's best for yourself above all others. So trust yourself and trust what you believe you know, because you know more than you think. Never, ever, 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 ever. Never get tricked into scoreboard watching, because comparison is the thief of all joy. Scoreboard watching, I believe I talked about on episode number 16 or something. It was 30 for 30. Stop scoreboard watching. But I just want to remind you that in order for you to be your best self, you have to focus on yourself, not focus on your mom, not focus on your sister, not focused on anybody or everybody around you. Focus on doing what you're doing, running the lane that you're running. When you begin to do these things, my friends, this positions you in the long haul for the long run to be successful in your own life. Don't look at what everybody else is doing. Don't worry about their accolades, but worry about you. This was something that I had to learn because I kept getting caught up watching other people, seeing what other people are doing. Wait, but what are they doing? But wait, what about this? And especially in this arena of speaking, it can be so easy for me to watch other people and say, man, I should be there. Why didn't I get to do this opportunity? Why did they get that and this and that? And then it just leads you down a rabbit hole that nobody wants to go down. So stop comparing yourself and don't scoreboard watch. Next, friends, we have to be kind to others. Everybody's not always going to be nice to us. Everybody doesn't always care how you feel. You still want to be an individual who is kind, who is gentle, who is loving. If somebody treats you bad, you still want to treat them with love and also with respect. Because when you begin to do these things and people treat you a certain way, eventually the way that you respond to them will cause them to think about some things later. They'll come back to you a year later, 2 years later. Sometimes they might not even come back and they'll say, well, I was so mean to you. How did you still show love? How did you still show grace? Friends, I'm a believer, okay? I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in the Holy Spirit. Therefore, with that belief, it governs the way that I respond to people or the way that I should respond to people. So therefore, friends, you want to be a good example of what you believe. So be kind to other people. Show love to other people. Show compassion. Next, you won't always be right, Jonathan. This one's for me, as well as this is one's for one of my good colleagues, because me and this individual go back and forth. Sometimes we argue. Sometimes we have heated fellowship because we both want to be right, but we both can't always be right. And friends, this is something that I would challenge you really to caution yourself about, because when you always want to be right, this makes you prideful. When you always want to be right, this puts you in a position to where sometimes you can't hear what other people are saying. So open your ears, open your heart, but close your mouth sometimes, because you can't always be right. There was a song I once heard that said, I'm always right sometimes. So remember that you can't always be right. You don't want to be that person where people can't tell you anything, because then people won't talk to you. People won't approach you. And that's how you lose relationships and also friends. This is the second to last point. Sacrifice always comes before success. This was another episode that we did not too long ago. But I want you to be reminded that success is tangible. You can achieve success, my friends. However, but you have to make some sacrifices. And I use the term sacrifice because it adds extra emphasis, but I like the term investment. Because everything you sacrifice, if it's intentional, then it really is an investment into your life. It's an investment into your brand. It's an investment into your relationships. It's an investment into those things that you cherish most. So sacrifice always comes before success. And I promise you, friends, I promise you this much. This is what I know for an absolute fact. Okay? If you're willing to get up day after day and continue to chip away at the tree of adversity and fight through tough times, you will earn your success. But the question is, are you about that life? Are you about that life? Hey, you might not be. But if you are, then you deserve all the success that's coming to you. Just continue to put your head down, continue to work. And the last point I want to leave with you is, you will never be able to achieve success if you never first define it for yourself. It's easy for somebody else to tell you what you should be doing. It's easy for you to do what other people are saying. But if you take the time and you sit down and you write out your goals, you take the time and you sit down and you write where you desire to be, what you desire to do, what you actually want to achieve for yourself, and what success looks like for you. I talked about it before. I said for some people, success looks like getting out of high school. For others, success might look like getting a big house with the white picket fence, the front lawn, back lawn, and having a little dog named Scruffy. I don't know what success looks like for you, my friend. But if you sit down and if you define what success looks like for you, and then you begin to work yourself backwards. For instance, success for you, I'll just say a speaker because I'm a speaker. Success for you looks like getting the opportunity to do a TED Talk, or getting the opportunity to stand and speak up in a full house. But currently right now, you've never done a speech before, or currently right now, you've never done an engagement in front of anyone before. Working your way back from that may look like, okay, I need to first begin to speak. Yeah. Next, I need to get plugged up and connected to a local Toastmasters chapter. Yeah. After that, I need to get with a coach who helps me tailor my message and understand what I'm truly saying and who my target audience is. Yeah. And friends, as you begin to put those pieces in place for your own life, whatever your specific desire may be, then it makes it a little bit easier to chip away at certain dreams and goals. Then it makes it that much easier for you to get to your level of success. All right? Excellent. Friends, we're not going to do the What Are You Listening To segment this week because, in all honesty, I probably listened to 50 podcasts this week, and just choosing is really, really difficult. So I want to shout out to the Black Podcast Network, because I joined that group on Facebook and people have been showing so much love. There's so many people in that group, from the Hear Ye podcast to the Podcast Brothers. And I mean, the list just goes on and on and on and on and on. So I don't even want to do that this week because it's too many podcasts to mention, in all honesty. However, if you're a podcaster, I would suggest that you join the Black Podcast Network. They're on Facebook group. They add value and they are awesome. However, one thing we're not going to skip this week, because we cannot skip this. We're talking about the Winner Circle of the Week. You know what I'm talking about. The Winner Circle of the Week, man, I'm excited for this Winner Circle of the Week because this individual has been a faithful supporter of the Speak Your Success podcast as well. This individual shows up, shows out, just through their consistency, through their attendance at conferences, showing that they believe in personal development. They believe investing in themselves as a brand and as an individual. Today, we want to talk about the one and the only Jacqueline Twillie. Hey. Let me tell you a little bit about Miss Twilly. She's on a mission to eliminate the gender wage gap. She teaches women how to negotiate so that they don't leave any money on the table. My Lord in heaven. Jacqueline is the founder of Zero Gap, a training and development company for women who work in male-dominated industries. She has an MBA with a concentration in leadership. Her career advice has been featured in the press and web on Forbes, Fast Company, Today.com, Career Builder, Levo, Monster, Black Enterprise, Essence.com, and many, many more. She's the host of the Power Banking Podcast, where the focus is providing tools and strategies to help women embrace their leadership blueprint and embrace her power to be effective in work and in life. Friends, I want to urge you strongly, if you're a male or a woman, to make sure that you follow Miss Jacqueline Twilly, because first of all, she adds major value on her podcast, the Power Banking Podcast. My goodness, she goes in. She always talks real, tangible, applicable strategies. She doesn't just give you just random information. She gives you stats, she gives you facts, and she gives you information to apply directly into your life. Also, on her website, you definitely want to visit JacquelineTwilly.com. She has some great resources, like the ultimate negotiating checklist for women. It's on her website. You can go in and download that. So be sure to take advantage of that. But one more time, let's give it up for Miss Jacqueline Twilly. She's doing amazing things. We support you. We're backing you. And we thank you for always rocking with the Speak Your Success podcast. We don't take your support for granted. However, we do appreciate each and every person that you serve and all the work that you do, ma'am. Now we're going to slide to the quote of the week. To the quote of the week. Hey, to the quote of the week. To the quote of the week. The quote of the week comes from my own personal coach, and his name is Kendall Fickling. If you think you're interested or you would like to find out more information about coaching or speakers development training, send me a DM at SYS Podcast 1 or send me a DM at Jonathan Jones Speaks on Instagram, and I would love to get you connected. But the quote of the week is plain and simple. You got time, but you don't got time. And that's what Kendall always says. He says, you got time, but you don't got time. And I wanted to wrap up with that one for a message for a millennial, plain and simply because it's so easy for us at times to say, well, I'll get that tomorrow. You know what? I got time. I'm just going to sleep it off tonight. I'm going to chill right now. I'm going to cruise. Things are going well, so I'm going to chill right now. However, if you're not in a position to where you're making passive income and you're not in a position to where you're doing all of your dreams and you're able to have all that you achieve to have, if it be your own personal freedom, if it be financial freedom, if it be having a family and providing for that family to where every mouth is accounted for, every person's fed, and you are accounted for mentally, spiritually, and health-wise, then I would challenge you today to understand that you have time, but you don't have time. It's time for us to clock in our lives. It's time for us to take ownership, and it's time for us to attack the day, to begin to go through and make sure that we're taking full advantage of each and every hour, each and every minute, each and every second of our days. I was hanging out with a colleague just yesterday. Well, it wasn't really hanging out because we were getting work done, but we got started at 10 in the morning, went and got a background check done, went into a school and then signed a contract, went back to her house, began to do some more work, began to call schools, began to send emails, had a conference call, came back home, began to do a presentation. I realized how many hours are in the day, especially from her saying, hold on, wait, look what time it is. It's 10 o'clock. I still got 18 hours in the rest of the day. She said, what was I doing before with my time? And that quote right there speaks to that point. You have time, but you don't have time. So let's attack the day. Let's seize the moment. And we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Friends, if you would like more information about me, if you would like to purchase a copy of my book and you would like for me to sign it, feel free to go to jonathanjonesspeaks.com/products. Or if you would like to see about booking me for an engagement, for me to come out and speak to your youth, for me to come out and MC an event like I'm doing this evening, partnering with Kelsey Jones at a speed dating fest. I'm looking forward to that tonight. I'm be going out and I'm going to MC that event, and that's going to be a great time tonight. But you can go to jonathanjonesspeaks.com/booking, and we will get you taken care of. Friends, we're about to get out of here, but like we always close it every time, this is TEDx speaker and best-selling author Jonathan Jones reminding you to speak your success, believe in your greatness, and continue to create the life and business of your dreams. Why would you want to live any other way?